name is Eduardo. Let's go in TV.
Hey everyone, Eduardo here. And if you know anything about the Dallas Cowboys, you know this franchise doesn't just represent football, it represents expectations. This is America's team. This is the star that demands championships, not participation trophies. And right now, Jerry Jones is getting absolutely hammered for what he's done this offseason. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but some of these moves feel like they're either going to make Jerry look like an absolute genius or they're going to age terribly by Thanksgiving. ESPN's Seth Walder just handed Dallas a C+ offseason grade, and woo, Cowboys Nation is not happy. Now hold on, before everyone starts screaming about media bias. Let's actually break this thing down because there are a couple of points that deserve real football discussion. One move almost everybody seems to agree on: keeping George Pickens on the franchise tag. That's one decision that actually makes sense. Pickens gives Dak Prescott another explosive outside weapon. We're talking about a receiver with elite body control, ridiculous catch radius, violent hands at the catch point, and enough speed to threaten corners vertically every single snap. Defensive coordinators now have to respect Dallas stretching the field instead of sitting underneath every route. One source inside the building reportedly told me, George was never leaving this year. Jerry viewed him as too valuable to risk. If that's true, good call. No complaints there. But then, everything starts getting messy. The Cowboys traded for Rashawn Gary. Listen, if you think giving up premium draft capital for a pass rusher coming off a major ACL injury while paying him $16 million per year is automatically a great move, you're watching a different sport, my friend. Gary before the injury? Absolute monster. Elite first step explosion, power through the tackle, violent long arm move, could win from wide 9 alignments or kick inside on passing downs. Gary after the injury? That's the million-dollar question. Actually, the $16 million question. One scout I talked to said, "We still see flashes, but the burst isn't consistently there." Another source inside the organization added, "They're betting the second year removed from the ACL is where he gets back." That's a big gamble, because edge rushers live off explosiveness. That first 3 steps, that bend around the corner, that ability to flatten toward the quarterback, if even 10% of that disappears, you're not getting the same player. And then comes the move that's got me scratching my head, trading Osa Odigizua.
Se você está gostando do vídeo, deixe seu like e compartilhe.
Really? Really? Osa was entering the prime years of his career. Quick off the snap, excellent interior penetration, fantastic at shooting gaps in one-gap defensive fronts. He consistently forced quarterbacks off their spot, even when he wasn't getting sacks. That's valuable football. Meanwhile, the Cowboys decided to keep Kenny Clark instead. Look, I respect Kenny Clark. Veteran, strong against the run, knows every trick in the book. But he's older, costs more, and Osa arguably had more upside. One executive around the league reportedly told me, "We were surprised Dallas moved Osa instead of Clark." Another personnel source added, "The age difference alone made that decision difficult to understand." That's 4 different people around football, basically asking the same question. Why move the younger asset? Before I lose my mind over this, do me a favor, hit subscribe, smash that like, and I need to see your takes in the comments. Am I crazy, or is this offseason going to be remembered as one of Jerry's biggest gambles? Tell me what you think below. Now here's where this gets really interesting. People keep bringing up Micah Parsons. Whether it was cap management, future roster planning, or simply trying to prepare for life around him, his situation clearly influenced several moves. One source inside the building reportedly said, every decision this offseason had Micah's contract somewhere in the conversation. If that's true, everything suddenly starts making more sense. Not necessarily good sense, but financial sense. Jerry Jones has always believed he can outsmart the market. Sometimes he does. Sometimes, not so much. We've seen these high-risk offseason swings before. Sometimes they end with playoff runs. Sometimes they end with everyone asking why Dallas ignored the obvious warning signs. Personally, I think this entire offseason comes down to one question. Can Rashawn Gary return to being the player he was before the ACL? Because if he does, nobody's going to remember the criticism. Nobody's going to remember the C+ grade. Everybody's going to call Jerry a genius. But if Gary struggles, if Osa balls out somewhere else, if the pass rush disappears, if the defense can't pressure quarterbacks, this fan base is never going to let Jerry forget it. September can't get here fast enough, because one way or another, we're about to find out whether Jerry Jones built a contender or built another offseason headline.
Thank you for watching the video.